Sky Genie Entertainment presents the following. The Holiday Edition is not suitable for children under the age of 18. It contains coarse language, sexual references, my own personal views and opinions. The characters of the show are fictional and are made for fun, not harm. I'd like to thank you for listening to the Holiday Edition. The Sky Genie Show will be back on January 6th, 2018. Until then, enjoy the Holiday Edition with my special guest co-host, Johny Florida. Welcome to the Sky Genie Show Holiday Edition. I am the Sky Genie. You are listening to the worst show ever, and it's the Christmas edition. Yes, Christmas edition. At a time where you get all festive and happy and fuck it. Joining me is Johny Florida. How you doing, Johnny?
I live in a state that shouldn't celebrate Christmas because we get no snow. That's how I'm doing.
I don't either. We actually get Christmas time in summer.
What?
Yeah, our Christmases are spent going to the beach and having barbecues.
Jesus. So the jokes about you guys frying up a kangaroo for Christmas dinner are true.
I don't know about that. But then there was, you know what's funny though, because I heard it was an MMA fighter that was in Australia. I don't know if you heard about this. So we'll pretty much get straight into it, people. An MMA fighter attacked another one with a boomerang. And here's me thinking, looking at this, who the fuck has a boomerang? No one in Australia actually really carries around a boomerang, so it's kind of really a stupid thing. It must have been a prop or something, so I don't understand that logic at all.
Well, I mean, if you're going to try to do something stereotypical, you go to the max. You're just lucky eating kangaroo to kick the guy.
And the funny thing about it is that they like I lost my point, but either way. But the funny thing about it,
you guys don't. Not nobody in Australia has boomerangs.
No, we don't carry them, and they. But it was obviously, it must have been a promotional thing that they did it with, and with the ones with boomerangs anyway, like what the ones you'll get in the store is not the actual boomerangs. But if you got the actual ones that the Aboriginals used to have, they're actually carved really sharp, and because they used to hunt people, and they don't come back. They actually chop animals' heads off.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys used to sharpen that shit.
Oh yeah, shit gets brutal. So we'll go into the David Otunga stuff. Obviously, this is going to be well in advance, but who knows what will blow up in that time. News just broke as of recording. David Otunga and Jennifer Hudson have split, and that there's looks to be a big thing over custody. She has put a protection order against him, and the breaking news that Johny didn't find out, it won't be so breaking later on, is that she actually cheated on David Otunga. So what's your thoughts on that, Johny?
No! They were so perfect together! Seriously, I'm not surprised. She's a movie star, or a musician, or whatever, same thing at this point in society. He's a wrestler. The idea of something happening between at least one of them was highly probable, sad to say. Not everyone's Kevin Owens, who's got a bombshell wife and probably the celibacy of a saint.
But the thing is about that I'm finding weird in this, but she put the protection order against him, but yet the attorney on David Otunga has claimed that he has never been abusive and has actually been the primary carer of the kid while she has had a career and been on tour. Now, with her cheating, but what she is trying to do is use his WWE career to get custody of the kid. Now, here's me thinking, with her cheating, that will sort of negate that big time.
Well, yes and no. See, here's the key thing. I don't know exactly where they live. The fact that she's a movie star, a music star, makes me think that they're probably over in California. And I do know California for a fact, Florida for a fact. There are many states. There's only 7 states in the U.S. where adultery is illegal, like it's a crime. So, but anyway, a lot of states like Florida and California are what you call no-fault states. And to sum it up, in a no-fault state, when you have a divorce, everything's 50, no matter what. You take anything that you own that's in the family, that's in the couple, anything in most states after the marriage, so anything before it doesn't count. But you take all that stuff and it's 50-50. The house, the car, any wealth, anything, everything's split down the middle 50-50. Except for one exception. Somebody claiming domestic violence. And then in the proceedings, they're going to review it. And if at any time the judge feels that domestic violence happened, it is up to the judge's discretion to award up to 100% of the marital assets and custody of the children to the quote-unquote damaged party. So that's what Jennifer's trying to do. She knows if she makes that claim, if it even has a chance of working, she can get up to everything.
So you have to wonder with this happening with David Otunga, because one of the reasons I had heard is why he retired from being in the ring was because of Jennifer Hudson didn't want him being on the road all the time. Now that they're split up, if at some point that Jennifer Hudson gets the kid, does he go back to wrestling?
The fact that Otunga's got a lot of money, unless they can prove, unless the court decides yes, there was domestic violence, they're probably going to split the child custody 50-50. If that happens, odds are he's going to want to continue on his role as a commentator and get that pay and be home more with the kid. If they try to claim domestic violence, here's the thing: there's no way for Otunga to go back to wrestling, because if they try to claim domestic violence and the court sides with that, they award custody of the child to Jennifer Hudson. What's WWE going to do? Take a guy who's now been civilly convicted of domestic violence and put him back into wrestling? No, it's going to look bad for them.
Because it does have to be a shitty thing, because WWE does... it's a publicly traded company and they go on PR. Stuff like this can actually ruin. So if David Otunga is innocent, like if he is found innocent in all this, or is actually innocent but found guilty, this could actually affect his career somewhat.
Exactly. Oh yeah, if they try to claim domestic at any point, and it's even a chance of being proven true, WWE's going to have to cut ties with him. They may give him a good severance check, but they're going to have to cut ties with him. Because especially with right now, and I'm sorry for rambling, Mike, with all the sex scandals and everything going on in the United States and across right now, this is the worst time for the idea of a domestic violence issue. Everything's PR right now here back in the States, so WWE's going to want to bury it as much as possible.
And it's funny because there's at the moment with all these at this point in time of recording that there's all these celebrities coming out as being sexual assaulted, being people that are sexual harassment, like Sylvester Stallone, Harvey Weinstein, and all these other people, whether they are innocent, guilty, or whatever. It's kind of a bad thing, and I'm surprised that wrestling hasn't really been hit as yet. I mean, if any industry in the world that's going to be done for sexual harassment, it'll be wrestling, because you have people like Ric Flair, you have people, pretty much everyone in the business, and there's always stories that you hear going around, slept with so many women and that, and done all this crazy stuff. So I'm surprised stuff like that hasn't come out about wrestling just as yet, but I'm waiting for it.
Part of the reason I think, look at all the sex videos of Paige and all the pictures and the nudes, the leaks and everything. You've got from the supposed video of Maurice to you got the pictures of Charlotte, Summer Rae, Paige, Victoria, so many of them that a lot of women in the wrestling world, if they even think there's a shred of chance of trying to claim it, whether true or untrue, and I'm not trying to say that they're lying, but even if it's a chance being true, they're possibly afraid to come out because they're thinking maybe they got stuff that was leaked that could be leaked out as well. Every single woman in the pros are freaking out. Even Ruby Riott had her pictures leaked out. So anybody in Impact and WWE and etc., they're all losing their mind right now, wondering if they're going to be next. And if they come out with a controversy saying that they were assaulted by somebody, you know their pictures are going to be the next ones out because they're the hot topic, period.
But I have to wonder, though, because the people that are getting targeted are not exactly people that are new celebrities. They're more so celebrities that are in the twilight of their careers. They post do a bit of acting here and there, but they're not full-time as they're used to. So I'm thinking if anybody would get picked, it'll be the Ric Flairs, it'll be the Brutus Beefcakes, the Greg Valentines, all the legendary stars, not so much the newer talent.
Well, you got to remember with the older stars, they don't have a lot of money. Ric Flair's got money because he's still with WWE, but Greg Valentine, no disrespect, the guy's a legend, but he doesn't have a lot of money right now. Rick Martel, not a lot of money. Al Perez, clearly not a lot of money. So people aren't going to go after them as much because they may not be as a big bust. Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, yeah. But other than that, it's going to have to be the modern-day people. The only other old one would be Vince McMahon, and that's because he runs the company. And he's the one that everyone suspects has done something.
Okay. There'll be more of the Sky Genie Show after the break.
The Sky Genie Show will be back after the break. Can't get enough of the Sky Genie Show? Check out the website, skygenieshow.weebly.com. There you'll find links to past shows and much more. Go to skygenieshow.weebly.com today. for in-depth discussion of professional wrestling as well as politics and the stupid laws in your state. Check out Wrestling's National Committee with Johnny Florida, Old Man Jenkins and Papa Dave Sincere, live on Mixlr on Tuesdays during SmackDown, or the after party of Wrestling Soup, and on Sundays. Check them out. For in-depth discussion and show updates, go to the show's Facebook at the Sky Genie Show page. Do you need more fruits and vegetables in your diet? Check out juiceplus.com.au today. Juice Plus is the convenient and inexpensive way to add more nutrition to your diet from fruits and vegetables every day. Juice Plus Fruit Blend is made from 7 different fruits. Juice Plus Vegetable Blend is made from 10 different vegetables, grains, plus an array of natural antioxidants, phytochemicals, and fiber in a convenient capsule form. Each ingredient is especially selected to provide you with a wide range of nutritional benefits. We call it next best thing to fruits and vegetables. Check out juiceplus.com.au today. For those wanting to follow me on Twitter, it's at SDD916. Check it out. You are listening to the Sky Genie Show.
We are back to the Sky Genie Show Holiday Edition with Johnny Florida, and it's the Christmas edition. So the WWE have released a few key people in what I view is in in Emma and James Ellsworth. Here's me thinking, Emma was sort of getting a not a huge push, but semi-push until I met with Asuka, and James Ellsworth is probably, I can understand, but was there helping Carmella get over. What is your feeling on these departures?
Okay, so I said this, and part of the guys were open to the idea. I don't think they were convinced, but they were open. With Emma, I believe that for Emma, WWE was deciding to get rid of her, but they did those matches with Asuka to build Emma up for the release, like a compassionate release. So they give her a good match with Asuka at the pay-per-view, and then they let her do a second one. So that way she looks like a hot-ticket item before they fire her, so it doesn't look like a burial. With all the political correctness right now, it's very hard to release a woman right now, and I don't want it to sound wrong, because at least Emma, in her case, she's a great star. But it doesn't. But they got to be very careful when they're releasing the women wrestlers. So that's why
I kind of have a theory on the Emma release. There was a word going around that she was difficult to work with backstage. She was probably pitching out too many ideas that they liked, that didn't like. The idea for Asuka was her to probably knock Emma out in the first go. My thinking is Emma sort of tried to give a creative idea to make Asuka look good, but instead, it didn't turn out well, and that's why WWE fired her, because they didn't see her as a ring general. And I think the match with Asuka sort of sealed her fate.
Well, I think that's possible, but personally speaking, I don't think that's the case with Emma. Maybe the WWE, maybe Asuka was open to it, because, being respectful and all that. But I don't think that she was working like that. It's kind of hard. I think Asuka was more respectful to it and not wanting to bury Emma like that. But we know WWE wanted a full powerhouse, possibly for Asuka. That would have been at least a smart move.
Place your item in the bagging area.
Yeah, place it in the bagging area, Johnny.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to keep the phone away. The stupid computer.
Don't pull an Emma on this one either.
And with James Ellsworth, he just got released. I think he just didn't want another contract.
I'm wondering because I'm wondering if he was actually injured between the time he was having that feud with AJ to now, And because he hasn't really been in a lot of matches much. Usually when they have people on, they'll have him on, but have a few squash matches. And I'm thinking he may have been too injured to get back into the ring, and maybe he decided to retire.
I don't think that's the case with Ellsworth. I think he just had his 1-year contract and just wanted out. That's all.
So, and you have to wonder, where does Emma go from here? Because Emma is actually a pretty good talent, and then people go, well, Emma's had so many chances, but she hasn't really had a lot of chances. She would go out there, she would do whatever they want. They put her out with that stupid bubble gimmick, and she went back after she got over in NXT the first time. Then she went back to NXT, reinvented herself to come back, and unfortunately she had a back injury. But then she did that Emelina thing, and then that went nowhere, and they just kind of pushed her to the side. So I'm hoping like a place like a Women's of Honor or some good women's company signs her up to hopefully push her as a top star, because she is I thought she was a pretty good talent.
Well, we do know at least she's already got her first booking. What do you call it? Our boys, Atomic Wrestling Entertainment out of Florida, down South Florida, they've already booked Emma for a show in February, and they do some big stars over there. They have what's called the Bombshells division. That's their women's division, and the current Bombshells champion is Rosemary from Impact. They've also got Jade, and they got Amber Nova. So they're doing pretty good with the women's wrestlers alone.
I just wish New Japan would do a women's division. I think they'll do a pretty good job with it, because the divisions they end up doing they push to the moon, and they make titles mean something. Like, they're the only company that really makes their titles mean something more than they are.
The Sky Genie Show will be back after the break. For discussions and opinions on the events of professional wrestling, check out Wrestling Soup with Joey Numbers, Anthony Missionary Thomas, and John Draper as they break down what's good and what's bad in professional wrestling with a light-hearted approach. Thursdays, 9:30 on Mixlr, Saturday morning-ish, and after every WWE pay-per-view, you get a free post-show review. Check out Wrestling Soup, motherfuckers. Are you a person looking to get into media for work experience? Then sign up to Sky Genie Entertainment. Sky Genie Entertainment is everything the Sky Genie Show, from the channels to the social media page, marketing and advertising. This is strictly for volunteering, but if you're interested, go to skygenieshow.weebly.com, follow the link to the Sky Genie Entertainment page, and click the link to the inbox, where I will deal with you personally. On that page is a list of positions I am looking for. Check it out today. Looking for a good wrestling podcast for Sundays? Because let's face it, who isn't bored on a Sunday, but also wants to have that lazy day? Then check out the Solomonster Sounds off. He breaks down everything that in the week that was professional wrestling. Also check out his Facebook page, where there's numerous discussions on the topics of professional wrestling. Solomonster Sounds Off drops every Sunday on Podbean. Check out the Sky Genie Show on YouTube, Mixlr, Vimeo, and DTube. Looking for a podcast instead of wrestling? And check out Get in the Corner with Dogger Baby and Yuck Nasty, 8:30 Wednesday night on Mixlr. Do you need a good laugh after the crap you see on Monday Night Raw? Then check out the Don Tony and Kevin Castle Show as they break down Raw and current events in professional wrestling. The Don Tony Kevin Castle Show, immediately after Raw. Hey, have you got a suggestion for stupid shit of the week? Then please send it to Twitter at SDD916. That is at SDD916 on Twitter. You are listening to the Sky Genie Show.
Okay, we are back. We had a little bit of an issue here with John. I thought Johnny went up the line, but he actually muted me. Thanks a lot, Johnny.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, dude. Okay. So, but no. What is it? I think with the whole thing with New Japan, I wish they would do a women's division, but my honest belief is that it's going to be New Japan USA. Women's wrestling is big here in the U.S. in many ways, so I could see them. For New Japan USA building a United States Women's Championship, which in doing so is going to have to create the IWGP World Women's Championship. So I see that happening.
So I don't see why. I wonder when they'll actually start pushing that the IWGP Championship will be a World Championship, because it's never ever been a World Championship. It's just been a Heavyweight Championship, and there's a little bit of a difference.
It's a Japan thing. See, in Japan, look at the big feds. You got GHC heavyweight title for Pro Wrestling Noah. You got All Japan, their Triple Crown title. Unlike the United States, Japan has had their belts defended outside of Japan and in other countries, thus making them world titles. That said, they don't call them world titles. They are world titles. They just don't call them that because they don't see the need. To them, it's like, okay, it's just the IWGP heavyweight title. They don't have to overemphasize the idea of the world title. The Japanese fans don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
But I can tell you this: the IWGP title is a world title.
So we'll go into Impact Wrestling, the current state of Impact Wrestling. It was TNA at one point. NWA TNA when it debuted, went to TNA, then it became Impact Wrestling, gone to Global Force Wrestling, back to Impact Wrestling, probably next to be Fuckity Duck Championship Wrestling. What the fuck is with this company, Johnny?
It's chaotic. So the big thing with them now is, Anthem's having a lot of problems in some cases, and they're consolidating their offices. I think after the whole incident with Jeff Jarrett, they decided, we got to consolidate all the offices, the Nashville office and our Toronto office, into just one office so we can maintain eyesight of everything. Because as long as the company was also down in Nashville, they couldn't maintain eyesight. Now, I'm not doing this as a defense for them. I mean, in ways I kind of am, but that's just, I would say, for anybody. Overall, there's a lot of problems going on. But the bright side, and it's a very small bright side, but the fact that they are Canadian fed is leading to some changes. Ethan Page is now on Impact. Marcus Burke, who's the former World Wrestling Professionals World Heavyweight Champion, and that's all fed out in South Africa. They're the number one fed in Africa. They do shows in South America, Southern Europe, and India. And they're a big fed. He's in Impact. Hannibal Nicholson, he's on there as well. So there's a lot of good capabilities going on for new Canadian stars to become pros, even bigger pros with the new Canadian Fed. This is the first Canadian pro since Stampede Wrestling went under in the 90s when Vince bought them out.
Because I have to wonder, because you keep seeing these reports of them paying people to come to these events. And I have to wonder, will this company be around in a year if they continue to do this?
I think their biggest thing was the fact that they went for a casting agency to pay people to do this is stupid as hell. I mean, it's not unheard of before. People have done it, and the initial report showed. I remember seeing the original post for it on Facebook from the casting agency that did it. They were looking for 50 to 75 people, so they weren't looking for a lot of people. And like Missionary had said, if it's just that number, then that's fine. You're just trying to fill up some space. If it's more, then it's a problem. I think the biggest thing is because they picked Ottawa. Ottawa's not a wrestling city. It's the capital of the country, but it's not a wrestling city. I figured they picked it because it was near the middle of Montreal and Toronto, so they can get the best of both worlds, but it didn't really pan out that way.
But the thing is, too, you also have the same problems you would have had in Orlando. You'd have fans show up, but there wouldn't be fans into your product. So they'll be going there because they're paid to be. They'll put up the signs, they'll go yay or boo to whatever you say, but they won't actually be fans of your product, and it won't actually be organic.
Well, when I was at Impact, they didn't, at least in Orlando, tell anybody who to root for and who to boo. They never did that. In India, we know they did. But the problem is India. All the TV shows that do stuff at the Sony 6 studios in Bollywood, the audiences that are there are paid to be there. So they were used to the whole thing. So it was a pattern for them. For us in Orlando, they weren't telling people who to root for and who to boo. So it was at least in that case. But the problem is, I think, is they're right now in another transition, which seems redundant after all the transitions, and this is my last sentence, I'm shutting up, but they're going to probably start doing tours across Canada. Vancouver, Toronto, Alberta, and Edmonton, and so on. And we could see what happens at that point, see if they start doing good with shows across the map.
Do you feel that Ed Nordholm is the male Dixie Carter?
No and yes. Ed Nordholm is Dixie Carter in the fact that he's making some stupid moves. I mean, the broken gimmick item, had Rebby Sky not been married to Matt Hardy, it wouldn't be blown as much in the proportion as it is. And I say that because she's the fucking loudmouth. And I did ridicule people for the fact of why they knocking Nordholm for doing this one time, whereas WWE does it with every single one of their wrestlers. So where's the hypocrisy?
I will say on that. And I know it wasn't with Ed Nordholm, but it was with that company. I mean, they do have a legitimate gripe. Delete shit aside. They did put money into that company like for a few times, and
right, yeah.
the fact they got that much shafted in the end, I see a legitimate reason why they should be pissed. Now, Rebby going on the tirade she did, maybe it was funny to see it in my own personal opinion, but at the same time, like her response to that, I can see that being. I can understand it in a way because they did put money into it, and how would you? It's to say, how would you feel if you put money into it and then you got fucked over in the end? I mean, I'll be pissed too.
No, and I understand all that, so I'm not knocking that, far from it. I'm just saying, as far as the pattern, I mean, this has happened in wrestling ever since Vince McMahon started this whole problem. Back in the day, no one needed to trademark their name. Crusher Khrushchev could go from one place to another using his name, and nobody called dibs until Vince McMahon Jr. But in any case, the problem was as well is that they were close to the deal being done. When they had that one interview where Jeff Jarrett said that the broken gimmick is property of Impact Wrestling, Rebby goes off and makes a tyrant a thing saying, oh, well, we were working on a deal and stuff. It's like, okay, haven't you ever heard of something called status normal, ops normal? What that means is you're going to keep claiming publicly what you've been doing until the deal is finalized. And from all the reports and the sounds of it, the deal to sell the broken gimmicks to the Hardys was about a week or so away from being finalized. But because they had to answer a question, and they did that, now we're still dealing with the bullshit that we got because Rebby couldn't keep her mouth shut and understand, wait till the deal's finalized. But I understand overall the gripe, so I got that. And the fact that the Hardys did put money into it, so I understand. And I'm not knocking, I'm a fan of the Hardys. So Nordholm, I'm sorry, I kind of drifted off and as well stop is, Nordholm is not Dixie in the fact that Dixie wanted to be the next Vince McMahon, the next Stephanie McMahon. She wanted to be on TV. Nordholm has only been on TV twice, I think. He was out there with the executives from all the feds that they had the relationships with during Slammiversary, and I think he did something for Bound for Glory. That's it. So maybe one other time. So he's not on TV like Dixie wanted to be.
I'm not going to say that he is the same as Dixie Carter as him wanting to be like Vince McMahon. I kind of see the part where he's not a wrestling guy. Dixie Carter was never a wrestling person. Ed Nordholm's not a wrestling person. They invested into wrestling, and they've found all the bullshit that came along with it. But instead, I see they are trying to make it work, but it's like, how stupid can you be? Like I understand if I'm in a business, and this is a business from a business degree, if I'm in a business and it's not generating money, and you are doing stuff that's gonna, is not gonna make money, then why are you doing such stupid things to further your business? Like to me, going into other way is okay. It might be a cost cutting measure. I understand that, but at the same time, it kind of kills your audience. It kills your audience. It kills your viewers. And at the moment, or what TNA looks like, or Impact looks like now, it's a real scale down. It's not even a big wrestling fan anymore. It's pretty much a big overrated indie at this point.
Yeah. I mean, and in many ways it is. The difference is that it's got the relationships with the other pro feds across the map. It's got TV, and it's got big name stars. So that's why it's still considered a pro. But it is hanging on to limbs at this point.
And may I use the old term, Bush League?
I wouldn't say
no.
Bush League.
It would
make a Bush League move.
I'd say it would have to be Bush League because they were once the number two company. Now they're... I don't even know if they're in the top 50. Like, they have to be Bush League at this point.
TNA is still the number 2 in the United States for the fact of its viewership, but it is it's basically... We're just waiting for the final confirmation. As soon as they announce what their next tour is going to be, we'll know whether or not it's a Canadian Fed. You know, we have all the reason to believe it's a Canadian Fed. Jeremy Borash said they're going to be back in Ottawa at some point. If they do a tour in Toronto or out in Mississauga, outside of Toronto, if they go to British Columbia somewhere, the next tour, I will. If it's a Canadian city, I'm going to outright say it's a Canadian Fed. They might as well change the name to Canadian Impact Wrestling or something like that. Which sounds actually kind of like a nice name.
Okay, we're gonna end it here. So this will be the end of the Christmas edition of the Sky Genie Show. Give your plugs, Johnny.
Wow, yeah. So you can check us out, Wrestling's National Committee, on Mixlr, Mixlr. You can check us out. It's on the title of WNC Show. There's a space, WNC space show, or mixlr.com/WNC-show. You can check us out on Twitter, WNC4Life. That's the number 4, life spelled LYFE. We do a video news show as well on Fight TV, FITE. Go to fight.tv/WNC. Download the app. It's completely free. Install, sign up. Check us out on Fight TV as breaking news. We got fans across the globe already. It's amazing. You could check us out on Facebook, Wrestling's National Committee, or our fan page, WNC Nation. Well, it's a group. Join the group and get involved. Talk all wrestling possible. Mixcloud.com/WNC. Check us out there, and you can listen to all the shows recorded.
And check me out on my website, skygenieshow.weebly.com. On my Facebook page, the Sky Genie Show page. You can join in discussion on there. Hopefully we get that going. On Twitter, it's at SDD916. Check us out next week. Will be the New Year's edition of the Holiday Edition. The regular show will be back on January 6th, where we'll cover Wrestle Kingdom 12 with Okada and Naito and Jericho and Kenny Omega. Looks like a good show. Yeah, you looking forward to it?
Oh yeah, hell yeah, I am. What New Japan's about, what they're about to be doing in the United States come next year, I am looking forward very much.
For sure. Okay. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
This was a Sky Genie Show production.